Hey everyone, welcome to the Office Series. The Office Series is a production by Blue Oceans where each week we touch on issues that are very important to players, practitioners in the creative industry. We look at trends, industry trends that affect the creative agencies in Rwanda. We look at different aspects of how to promote work for our clients. And most importantly, we share and collaborate on information on how to best build the creative industry in Rwanda. And today, our topic for the second episode of the Office series is on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. Many of you have been looking at this advent of AI and ChatGPT and what does it mean for different industries? Will it take our jobs? Will machines replace humans? So this is what we want to break down and demystify and learn more about on this Office series second episode on artificial intelligence and ChatGPT. We are honored to have with us, joining us from the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution in Rwanda, Alain Ndayishimiye, who is a project lead for artificial intelligence and machine learning. Alain, it's a pleasure to have you with us at Blue Oceans.
Thank you so much for having me, and
Great.
looking forward to these conversations.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the first thing I would like to start with is AI, is artificial intelligence. Now we know that artificial intelligence is perceiving, synthesizing, and inferring information demonstrated by machines as opposed to intelligence displayed by humans. And we know that ChatGPT is a form of AI. It's an aspect of AI, a natural language processing tool driven by AI that has you having sort of human-like conversations. I mean, I know of people who from time to time will go to ChatGPT and ask, can you write me a letter, or can you write me a breakup message? I'm breaking up with my girlfriend, and ChatGPT will do all that for you. But in the broader spectrum of AI and ChatGPT, can you share more about what it is, especially in the context of the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution Rwanda?
So let me start by actually talking about AI before we even get to what ChatGPT is. So AI is a form of computer program that actually tries to mimic human intelligence and behavior. It does this through a variety of techniques and algorithms that really try to replicate what intelligence is to us as humans, but in the context of analyzing large amounts of data and making sense of what this is and trying to predict what the next move may be in the sense of intelligence. So ChatGPT, as you introduced, is a tool that is enabled by what we call large language models. And what this is just an algorithm that has learned through a vast amount of data, and what it's doing is just trying to predict the next word within a sentence. So it's not actually intelligence per se, but I would call it more of prediction. It's trying to predict based on the knowledge it has learned, but it's not really aware of what's outside there. So ChatGPT can be viewed as a tool that augments a lot of the activities we're seeing. It can speed up some repetitive tasks, but in the sense of the creative industry, this is an opportunity to harness AI to be more creative, to drive insights in certain fields, but also gives you ideas that not only are you able to understand, but things that are not even familiar with what we know today. So it's giving us an insight of what is the future like, but also it's giving us an opportunity to play with the future in the sense of technology.
Alain, you mentioned the future, and I think that's where, I think myself included, we don't know what the future is, but, like you said, we are planning and looking at this technology available to predict and so forth and so on. But in the creative industry, when it comes to AI, and AI, I'm looking at painters who are painting. We have seen the proliferation of content on social media. You don't know if it's a real picture. The other day we saw the Pope dressed in a pride flag and people were like losing their minds, but that's an AI generated image.
Yes.
And then on ChatGPT, as at Blue Oceans, we do a lot of script writing for videos and documentaries, and we have professional copywriters and script writers. We have professional photographers. We have professional videographers. In the form of AI and ChatGPT, is this going to take over? And I want you to touch more a bit on how we can better adapt or adopt this new technology, and what should people out there in the field be aware of in terms of what's real and what isn't?
Sure. So it's a very interesting topic. A lot of people would say it will replace jobs, but I don't look at it that way. So just like any general purpose technology, there's advantages to this technology, but also there's potential risks, including jobs. We've seen this throughout the years, especially within the first and second industrial revolution, where we've seen the introduction of things such as production lines that we're not used to, that have replaced what we call manpower today. So just as the first, second, and third evolutions, ChatGPT is just another general purpose technology, or AI, if I would call it that way, that is there to augment some of the tasks we see today. So it's not going to replace your jobs, but it's going to give you superpowers, I'd call it in a sense.
Superpowers.
So if it would take you, say, 10 hours to write, say, a script for a movie, imagine shortening it to, say, 2 minutes or a minute or a second. Just by writing a prompt, you have a script based on the ideas that are coming from your head. Then you can take the script and actually modify it or change it in the way that you would like to see it produced in a sense. So these are just tools that are augmenting capabilities. Look at Photoshop. Photoshop is doing the same, but it's not yet to the level of intelligence. But now we're seeing tools that are being embedded within Photoshop that can actually generate images that are almost similar to a context of, say, a Da Vinci of some sort, or a painting within whatever. You just have to be creative in the sense. So these are just tools that augment processes and speed up some of the tasks that we're used to in the creative industry, but it also gives us a possibility and capabilities that we don't really see right now, that we're going to see in the near future. You talked about the Pops image with the
pride flag.
So that's just somebody being creative in the sense. So just think of a magic formula that you can spell out some words, and then boom, you have something in the real world that you can engage with. So ChatGPT can be viewed as a tool in the creative industry, in the sense that it gives you insights, but also gives you capabilities in terms of your creative process. There are things that we can't imagine right now, but ChatGPT, because of its vast amount of data and knowledge within certain fields, it can give you things that you probably wouldn't have imagined as a creative person. So what it's giving us is opportunity to be more creative. It's streamlining some of the processes within some of the tasks we carry out within the creative industry, but it's also giving us an opportunity to experiment.
Absolutely.
So we talked about painting, we're seeing even audio, we're seeing visuals, but also we need to look at the risks, as much as it's giving us these beautiful things to play with, but also risks associated with it. Job displacement isn't necessarily an issue, but how can we actually start adapting this technology within some of the our tasks and creative processes? I think is what we need to focus on. But as a center, that's why we're here. So our job is pretty much we look at the gaps in policy, in regulation, that advance adoption of these technologies, but also looking at the risks. As much as we think about this as an opportunity, but also it can exacerbate some of the issues that we're seeing on the ground, especially given that these systems are trained on data that can be biased, that's not structured. So we're seeing things such as ChatGPT hallucinating on some of the prompts that you give it. So we really need to be careful and really understand the need for the technology, but also understand that there's also potential risks.
And you're talking about policy. So no, that was a great explanation. I think in the creative industry, for us, for people like us, companies like us who are constantly creating content and producing content, it's a tool. Like you said, it's a magic formula for us to even do bigger and better. So it's not really something to be afraid of, but like stay ahead of the curve and understand how we can utilize it better. You spoke about policy. Now I know Rwanda, as a country adopted the artificial intelligence policy by Parliament, I think sometime in April. So what does it mean for Rwanda? What does that policy mean for Rwanda? And is it to protect consumers? Is it to, what does it mean really?
So the new AI policy with this vision, it's pretty much a tool that's going to give us an opportunity to stay ahead of some of these pressing issues around the Fourth Industrial Revolution, but specifically within AI. What this means, it's through its vision, we want Rwanda to become a launchpad and test bed and launchpad for AI on the continent, but also contributing to the humanity in the sense. So what this vision is giving us an opportunity to set a roadmap of certain things we need to really understand, certain things we really need to put in place. We're talking about infrastructure, the data that's needed to train some of these models. We're talking about even ethics behind developing and adoption of these technologies. So not only is giving us a vision of a roadmap through which Rwanda within the next couple of years we're going to focus on, but it's also giving us the safeguards around how to do that in a more ethical way so that we ensure that everybody's benefiting, but also minimizing some of the risks. There's things we can't anticipate, but how can we really understand what we're doing in the context of all sectors? So these are technology that we believe that is cross-cutting, that's going to touch every aspect of our lives. That's why at the beginning I called it a general purpose technology. Just the way we have electricity today, AI will be embedded within every aspect of our lives. So be it at home, be it in the office, be it at, just name it, AI will be there. So it's going to be invisible in the sense that it's going to be almost magic, like I said.
Kind of like Wi-Fi?
Just like Wi-Fi.
Like Wi-Fi.
Yeah, so it's going to be everywhere and nowhere
in
the sense, but really need to be strategic in the sense, how do you really make it in a way that's aligned within the strategic goals of the country, but also think about the ethics behind it. I think is very important for us as a country.
Absolutely. Great stuff. So to get to know more information about this policy, where can we find it? Especially people who are interested in, being a part of it and understanding how to utilize it. How do people get this information? So
this information can be found on the website for the Ministry of ICT and Innovation. It's under publication. So when you go under publication, you should see a section on policy. There are lists of different policies the ministry has put in place, but I think it's on top right now on the list. So feel free to engage with the policy. Should you have questions, the ministry has a dedicated team that's available for this kind of conversation, but also leveraging the Center for the Fourth Industrial Revolution. So that's why we're here, just to align with what the country is aspiring to be, especially becoming a middle-income country by 2030 and high-income country by 2050. So the AI policy gives us that opportunity. How do we speed up that process, but also how do we do it in a safe environment? So thank you very much, Alain. Thank you, Diana. It's been great having you. And to our viewers, if you want to know more about Office Series and all the interesting and engaging topics that we come up with every week, every Wednesday at midday, we drop it on all our social media platforms. We also have a YouTube page. It's just down here below. Like, subscribe, and share, and be part of these engaging conversations and ask questions on our social media feeds. We keep on churning out this content. Engage with us, and we'll be back next week. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Thank you.